Amid rising tensions and the humanitarian challenge at the southern border, U.S. President Joe Biden dispatched U.S. envoys to Mexico and Guatemala on Monday for talks on the migration crisis. The White House border coordinator, Roberta Jacobson, will now travel to Mexico for talks with Mexican officials aimed at developing an effective and humane plan of action to manage migration. The visit was also announced by Mexico's foreign ministry, which said that the talks would take place today. The National Security Council's senior director for the Western Hemisphere will also be going with the aim to address the root causes of migration in the region and build a more hopeful future in the region. An increase in the number of migrants fleeing violence, natural disasters and economic hardship in Central America is now testing President Biden's commitment to a more humane immigration policy. U.S. officials are struggling to house and process an increasing number of unaccompanied children, many of whom have been stuck in jail-like border stations for days while they await a placement in overwhelmed government-run shelters and border facilities. Now, Mexico has also increased law enforcement at its southern border to stem the rise in the number of migrants entering the country and heading for the United States. Our correspondent Jagriti Dave is still with us from Washington, D.C. Thanks for staying with us, Jagriti. Now, President Biden has sent an envoy team for talks on migration at the border. What do we expect to be the outcome of these talks?
Well, I think what we know is that the pressure is really on the Biden administration from the Republicans, who are very vocal about their views about what's going wrong at the border. They think that it's Joe Biden's reversal of several Trump-era migration policies, in particular relating to unaccompanied minors. Now, the Biden administration says they are worried about the number of people crossing, the number of unaccompanied children arriving at U.S. border crossings. So that is something that they are clearly wanting to deal with. They're wanting to talk to authorities in Mexico and Guatemala, where officials have been sent to discuss the problems that are causing people to flee and to try to cross the border. But I think immediately what they are having to deal with is what to do with the number of unaccompanied children who have crossed the borders, and how to balance the pressure of deterring people from crossing, but also treating those who have humanely. And there has been photographs released by Republican Representative Henry Cuellar from Texas of a temporary border tent in Texas, where children are placed in crowded areas. And of course, the concerns are that given that this is happening during a pandemic, that there may not be sufficient distancing between people happening, which could cause the spread of the virus. So multiple concerns happening, ongoing, as a result of the what's happening at the border right now.
Right. Now, it's been 2 months since the Biden administration took over in the United States, and the U.S. already has an escalating migrant crisis. And many Republicans blame the president for overturning Trump-era policies on migration. So what is the way out of this crisis, and will we see a new policy for migrants and those seeking refugee status?
Well, Joe Biden has been, and his administration have been unclear on what exactly they're going to do. They have sent what many are describing as mixed messages, saying that with statements like the border is closed, but not saying what exactly that means. As we've said, the Biden administration is under pressure. Immigration is a very hot button topic here in the United States, and many Republicans are making a lot of noise about this. Democrats would argue that they're making political capital out of the personal tragedies of people who are who are crossing the border, fleeing from their hometowns. So I think whatever happens, I think immigration is an issue that has been a problem that has that many previous presidents have had to deal with. And so I think this is going to be one of those key issues that the Biden administration is really going to have to talk about and discuss and come up with some sort of plan for in the very near future.
All right, Jagriti, thank you so much for joining us on this broadcast, and thank you for all your inputs. WION World is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.